Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was one of the most popular athletes in the world at one point, and she probably is of all time. Now, when you think of Ronda Rousey, you instantly think UFC Ronda Rousey. Back when Ronda Rousey was just dominating that women's division, she was going crazy, She was, crowned the baddest woman on the planet. But after UFC, I think a lot of people forget or don't really remember what Ronda Rousey was doing. Ronda Rousey decided to join the WWE. In WWE, she did a lot of great things for the women's division. But then the second half, it really wasn't all that great. We had some high moments, then we had some low moments. So in this video, we're going to be going through Ronda Rousey's WWE run and seeing how good was it. Was it elite? Was it mid? Or was it just flat out terrible? But before we get into this video, make sure you guys smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you guys go check out my last video. I posted a video about who is the 4 best horsewomen, and I had 4 content creators. Shout out to Tommy, shout out to Donnie, Teal, and Russell Spot. The link will be in the top of the description. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So Ronda Rousey has had and made appearance of WWE, but she didn't make her official debut until the Royal Rumble of 2018, where she showed up when it was Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka on the ring, and you could see her pointing at WrestleMania. Now, seeing this, you would think, oh, is Ronda going to be at WrestleMania? Is she going to challenge either Charlotte or Alexa for the title? But it was none of that. Now, they were building up Ronda to WrestleManias, and she had a couple of singles matches showing that, she can definitely adapt and fit in the WWE style. Now, as WWE was building Ronda Rousey up, they had her in an altercation at Elimination Chamber with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Now, this feud with Triple H and Ronda and Stephanie McMahon was really, really underrated. Like, this was an actually entertaining feud, in my opinion, and I think it goes underrated in terms of like one of the more better feuds during 2018. But as they were building up the feud towards WrestleMania, they will call up Kurt Angle. We see Ronda go on her singles run, and she will start off her feud with Nia Jax, who at the time was the current WWE Raw Women's Champion. In May, she would challenge Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship at Money in the Bank. And listen, I know a lot of people like to say Nia Jax don't have bangers or Ronda Rousey doesn't have any banger matches, but this Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey match was an actual freaking banger. Like, this is a match when I watch, I'm like, bro, like, this to me was probably like a 4-star, 5-star match, bro. Like, this was an amazing match for what it was. And when you look at, Ronda, she just got to WWE. Her debut match was amazing, and then she put on a banger on Nia Jax. It really showed that, she definitely was able to adapt to the WWE style and really just put on some bangers. But the match will be stopped after Alexa Bliss attacked both Ronda and Nia with her Money in the Bank contract, and Alexa would actually cash in her contract and become the new Raw Women's Champion. After that match, Ronda would actually really start her official first feud, and that will come with Alexa over the Raw Women's Championship. And Ronda and Alexa would feud over the title for the next couple of months, and they would end up having a match at SummerSlam where Ronda would actually defeat Alexa Bliss. Now, watching this live, I had a feeling that they were going to put the title on Ronda, but I didn't think they would put the title on Ronda this quickly. But they will have another rematch at Hell in a Cell where Ronda would defeat Alexa Bliss once again. Now, Ronda would actually go on to feud with Nikki Bella. Now, this is very, very important because one of the reasons why I think the women's wrestling has elevated so much is because of Ronda. Because Ronda will actually go out and main event the first all-women's pay-per-view, which was a big deal at the time because we've never seen a pay-per-view of just straight women superstar. And also, she gave Nikki arguably her best match of her career. Like when you look at what Ronda was doing, bro, she was already making an immediate impact to women's wrestling and to that WWE women's division. Then she would get into a feud with Nia Jax once again because, as you guys remember, Nia Jax lost her title while facing Ronda at Money in the Bank, and they will also have a match. And I'm telling you, bro, Ronda and Nia Jax hasn't had one bad match, bro. Like, you can't tell me a bad match between Ronda and Nia Jax, bro. Then Ronda would feud with Natalya for a bit, but then this is where we would get into a heavy feud. She was feuding with Sasha Banks, and they were going at it, but they didn't have a match yet. But we're going to get back to Sasha later on. But she was actually supposed to face Becky at Survivor Series champion versus champion, but Becky was actually injured, so Charlotte came in and took Becky's place. That Ronda and Charlotte Flair feud. Matter of fact, that entire match was a straight, like, to me, that was a 5-star match, bro. Ronda and Charlotte, like, they were just straight hooping that match, bro. Like, when you watch it, bro, you can feel the intensity, bro. When Charlotte was beating Ronda with the kendo stick and all of that, bro, like, that was amazing work by those two women in WWE. And then leading up to the Rumble, Charlotte, Flair, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, they were kind of feuding a little bit, but at the Rumble, Ronda and Sasha Banks will actually have a match, and I think that's one of Ronda's most underrated matches of all time. Like, people forget how good of a match that was, bro. And I think because of what happened during that Rumble, that match get overlooked, but I would highly recommend you guys go watch Sasha versus Ronda. Like, that was an absolute banger by those two women. But after that match, Ronda would throw out an open challenge, which originally Bayley would come out to accept, but out of nowhere we would see Becky come out and confront Ronda. Now again, Ronda and Becky already had history since Survivor Series, and Becky, who actually won that Rumble that night, decided to face her at the main event of WrestleMania. Now, I'm not gonna lie, man, over the history of Ronda versus Becky, bro, they had so much potential, but for some reason, man, we never got that one-on-one between Ronda and Becky. It's just like, it felt like it wasn't meant to be. But after Becky challenged Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania, this will actually be the first WrestleMania main evented by a woman. And the fact that, like, that was able to happen because of Ronda shows how big of a draw Ronda is. It shows how big of an impact Ronda was to that women's division. Because I think if it wasn't for Ronda, I don't think that Charlotte and Becky would have main evented that early. I do think Charlotte would have eventually main evented a WrestleMania. I also do think Becky would have also main evented a WrestleMania. But I don't think it would have been that early at WrestleMania 35. I thought maybe at a WrestleMania 36, maybe, or 37. I think that might have been the time frame for it. But I mean, if you look at what was going on in the WWE, bro, like, Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda definitely deserve to main event, in my opinion. But Ronda and Becky will continue their feud. It was a really, really good build-up to WrestleMania, in my opinion. You had things like Vince McMahon suspending Lynch for 60 days in the storyline. And then, out of nowhere, when Vince announced Charlotte, that was like a shocker to people. Like, even to me, I'm like, whoa. Like, I mean, I was loving the Ronda versus Becky Lynch feud, but I mean, at first I was very confused on why adding Charlotte to it. Then I remembered, I mean, it's Charlotte. Like, I mean, I like, of course Vince is going to want Charlotte in that main event. And after like a week, I'm like, I actually don't mind that. I like, Charlotte is a hooper. I mean, it didn't really make sense, but I mean, I was just thinking like, yo, that match is even going to be even more better, bro. Because you got Ronda, you got Becky, you got Charlotte. They're all elite in ring. This can low-key be a 5-star classic on our hands. Now, you guys got to remember that Ronda during this time, during her run, she was a babyface. You know what I'm saying? She was over with the crowd. The crowd really loved her. But on the episode of Raw on March 4th, Ronda would actually turn heel. Now, everyone would assume a heel Ronda would go crazy. And she did. Like, going into WrestleMania, heel Ronda was kind of going crazy. I won't even lie. Then at Fastlane, Becky Lynch would face Charlotte Flair. And if Becky won, she would be entered back into the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. But Ronda wasn't going to let any of that happen. She would actually come in and stop the match, leading into a disqualification. And that would, set the triple threat match at WrestleMania. Now, the match was supposed to be for the Raw Women's Championship, but they actually changed it to a winner-take-all. Ronda, the current Raw Women's Champion, and Charlotte Flair, the current SmackDown Women's Champion. Now, we're in the main event of WrestleMania. Now, I'm going to keep it a bean. I was at WrestleMania 35. It was mad late. The crowd really wasn't into the match just because of how long WrestleMania was. Now, I actually went back and actually watched that match for the first time, and I don't think the match was bad. I thought that was actually a really, really great match. I know a lot of people like to say that match is, I don't think that match is, up there, but I think it's one of the better main events we've seen in this last decade, in my opinion. But Becky would end up pinning Ronda Rousey for both titles, making her the first undisputed women's champion in WWE history, and giving Ronda Rousey her first loss in her WWE career. Now, after this, Ronda was actually out of WWE. She wasn't doing anything. She wasn't appearing on TV or anything. We wouldn't see Ronda Rousey until 2022, when she made a surprise entry into the 2022 Royal Rumble when she came in at 28. Now, as a Ronda fan merchant, not gonna lie, I was excited as hell. I'm like, oh, Ronda's back. And I was just thinking about the endless feud. I'm like, oh man, she just had a baby. She's probably ready to go and everything. Now, as a Ronda fan, I was not excited about her winning the Rumble, only because I feel like there could have been other women that could have won that Rumble. I feel like they could have easily had Charlotte versus Ronda, seeing at WrestleMania, without having Ronda winning the Royal Rumble. But nonetheless, she won the Rumble, and she would instantly start feuding with Charlotte Flair. Now, the Charlotte and Ronda feud, leading up to WrestleMania, was solid in my opinion. I don't think it was horrible, but I definitely feel as though WWE could have done a way better job building up this feud, because I think it had a potential to be an all-time great feud for Charlotte and Ronda. I think both of them in ring work well together. Charlotte can definitely cut a promo. Ronda on the promo side, she's not that great, but I feel like she can hold her own when it comes to the mic. But leading up to WrestleMania, Ronda would actually have a match at Elimination Chamber. She would actually team up with Naomi to face Sonya Deville and Charlotte Flair in a match that they would actually win. Now, that match was a match, to be honest. It wasn't anything special. It just felt like a filler match to build their feud up to WrestleMania. That match was just okay. I don't really have any takes about that match necessarily. But then at WrestleMania, Charlotte and Ronda would have their match, and I thought that match was a really, really solid match. But Ronda did not pull away with the W. Charlotte would retain. And I'm a little shocked by that, because I've never understood WWE, when they have a Royal Rumble winner lose at WrestleMania, it feels like a waste. It's sometimes, it can maybe build up the superstar more, but I feel like in this instant, bro, with Ronda Rousey, I feel like you have to have Ronda win the title here. But unfortunately, she didn't. But they would continue their feud, and Ronda would actually eventually finally capture the SmackDown Women's Championship at Backlash. And that was one of Ronda's best matches of all time. That Backlash match was an absolute banger. Now, when I was watching like, Ronda going her run. I felt as though Ronda's job should have been pit over the younger talent, put on some great matches and really just give the other women an opportunity to show what they're made of. And they started off doing that. They had an open challenge where Raquel Gonzalez would answer it. They had their little feud. They had her face Emma in the open challenge. Like, they definitely did a lot of things to have Ronda try to help and build other women in the women's division. And then at Money in the Bank, Ronda would face Natalya. They've been feuding for about a month or two. Not gonna lie, as a Ronda fan and WWE fan, I couldn't have cared less about this feud. They would face each other at Money in the Bank, where Ronda would retain, and then we would actually get one of the biggest moments of 2022, where Liv Morgan would come in and cash in on Ronda, giving Liv Morgan her first WWE title. Then we would see the Liv and Ronda feud. Not gonna lie, this feud could have been way better if WWE kind of just fumbled this feud. And I think Liv was kind of cooked from the start, because like Ronda Rousey is one of the top women in WWE. You know what I'm saying? Even outside of WWE, bro, her UFC run it all like that. Like, not everyone can just like beat Ronda Rousey. So when you had her feuding with Liv Morgan, you have to build Liv Morgan to the point where, like, oh, okay, whoa, like Liv Morgan can really beat Ronda. Like, that's believable. That would help Liv, but it just wasn't like that throughout this whole feud. It just felt like Liv was never going to beat Ronda, to be honest. Now, they had a match at SummerSlam where Liv would retain, but when you look at that match, it made Liv just look weak, in my opinion. And that feud was just like cooked, in my opinion, from the very beginning. But Liv and Ronda would continue their feud, and they would end up having a match at Extreme Rules where Ronda would win. That match, man, that match was pretty solid to me. That was definitely their best match out of the three matches they had. But that feud felt like it never had a shot to be good. I don't know why. It just felt like WWE just wasn't trying to invest that much into the match, in my opinion. Then Ronda will retain her title after Emma would return and accept her open challenge. And then she will have a Survivor Series match against Shotzi for the SmackDown Women's title. That match was interesting. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it was definitely an interesting match. Now, during this time, Ronda was actually teamed up with Shayna Baszler. Now, as you guys know, Shayna and Ronda are very close, so this was, to me, a solid duo. And then, on the episode of SmackDown, December 30th, Ronda reign would come to an end when Charlotte Flair would return and challenge Ronda Rousey after Ronda just had a match. And Ronda would end up losing her title, ending her 83-day reign as SmackDown Women's Champion. Then Ronda wouldn't be on TV for a while, but then she would finally come on the episode of SmackDown and help Shayna Baszler attack for Liv Morgan and Tina Knox, basically making those two a tag team. I was kind of shocked they didn't maybe try to redo the Charlotte and Ronda feud, just because, like, I mean, she just lost to Charlotte, and like Ronda's not even gonna get her like her get back or anything. But I mean, it was probably for the best, because we would see Charlotte and Rhea, have a match at WrestleMania and have one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. But to be honest, I mean, Ronda really wasn't doing a whole lot. She would have a match at WrestleMania. They had a tag team match with, it was her, Shayna, Liv Morgan, and Raquel, and another tag team that I can't think of. But she wasn't really doing a whole lot. But later on in May, Ronda and Shayna won a fatal 4-way tag team match for the vacated WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. And I thought this was a really, really good call by WWE. You have Shayna and Ronda, two dominant women, being tag team champions. I thought this was going to be like the opportunity where WWE would actually build a women's tag team division, but it's WWE. Asking WWE to build a tag team division is like asking the Bears to draft a good quarterback. Or have a good quarterback. That's just never going to happen. And this will also make Ronda Rousey the 8th woman to become a Triple Crown champion. And then Ronda Rousey and Shayna would fuel the Bella Fire and Isla Dawn. And then they would have a match on an episode of SmackDown for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship, where Ronda and Shayna will win, unifying those titles together. Then at Money in the Bank, Ronda and Shayna would defend their title against Liv Morgan and Raquel, who they were feuding with for the last couple of months, and they would end up losing. Then this is where we see the Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler feud. Now, this feud again has so much potential, but it was just so bland. Maybe because at this point Ronda Rousey was on her way out of WWE, but it just felt like they put no effort into it. I feel like this feud had way better potential, but the Ronda and Shayna would have their match at SummerSlam in the MMA rules. It wasn't what I was expecting, not gonna lie. WWE really fumbled this feud also. This feud was just whatever, I would say. But Ronda would lose by submission. I guess this is kind of a way of Ronda putting over Shayna Baszler. But that would actually be the end of Ronda Rousey's WWE run, because Ronda Rousey would say on her Instagram October 11th that she has retired from pro wrestling. Now, Ronda Rousey has appeared at indie shows, but I don't think she's doing any wrestling full time. I think she is officially retired. But yeah, that was Ronda Rousey's WWE run from 2018 to 2023. Now, although I'm a Ronda fan, I think Ronda's WWE run has been, out of all the, people that's come from different companies and different avenues of wrestling, I think Ronda Rousey has had one of the better careers in WWE. If I were to give Ronda Rousey a grade on her run, I would probably give it a B+. Or maybe I'll actually give it a solid B, just because she has done a lot for WWE. She has done a lot for women's wrestling, helping, women main event WrestleMania and things like that. So I would give Ronda a B, and I feel like it could have been higher, because I think when you look at her second half of her run, it wasn't that great. I think WWE fumbled on a couple of feuds. I think they didn't I feel like they missed a lot of opportunities with Ronda, because I feel like with Ronda's first run, her first half before she came back in 2020 at the Rumble, I would have given Ronda an A+. I think WWE booked her really, really well and strong, but then when it came to her second run, it feels like I would have to give her maybe a C minus, and that's when you look at what WWE did in their first run, bro, it just seems like you would want to build off of that, but it felt like they never did. I know her Charlotte feud was solid. Her Liv Morgan feud was okay at best. She had a feud with Raquel. They put on a couple good matches, but it felt like WWE dropped the ball with Ronda Rousey in her second half of the run. Now, I can't blame all of WWE, because Ronda Rousey she took a step back in the ring. She wasn't, the 2018, 2019 Ronda where she was just having great matches with everyone. Her second half, when it came to in-ring, was she would have times where she was putting no bangers. Then she would have times where it looked like, man, is she even a wrestler? That's what it felt like at times. But yeah, I would give Ronda Rousey's WWE run a solid B. I don't think it was horrible. I don't think it was bad. It was just good and bad. And I think B would be a fair grade in my opinion. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. what would you rank Ronda Rousey's WWE run? Like, what grade would you give it? A through F? I want to hear you guys thoughts in the comment section down below. But before we get out of here, man, don't forget to go check out my last video with the 4 horsewomen video, where I had 4 content creators give their case on why they think that particular horsewoman is the greatest of all time out of the 4 horsewomen. Make sure you guys drop a like, make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to turn that notification bell on. And if you guys are going to WrestleMania this year, if you guys are going to a Raw, a SmackDown, an NXT show, make sure you guys use SeatGeek and make sure you guys use my code StevenSports to get $20 off your first purchase. And I'm out. Peace.